Let there listen the gods who are in heaven, and those who are upon the dark-hued earth. Let there listen the mighty olden gods. Formerly in the olden days, Alulu was king in heaven. He, Alulu, was seated on the throne. Mighty Anu, the first among the gods, stood before him, bowed at his feet, set the drinking cup in his hand. For 9 counted periods, Alulu was king in heaven. In the 9th period, Anu gave battle against Alulu.
When Enlil arrived on earth, he beheld the works of Enki, the foundations of the encampment, and the land that was called the Abzu. And he spake, saying, If truly the gold is here in abundance, then let us set forth the plans of our labor, that Nibiru may be saved, and the breath of life be restored. Thus began the great endeavor to draw forth the gold from the heart of the earth, and mine the treasure hidden beneath the land, so that Nibiru might yet be delivered from its fate. Anu, the king of Nibiru, decreed a great order among the mighty ones. He spake, saying, Let Enlil be the commander of the earth. Let him rule over the lands and the labor of gold, for he is the true heir of my throne. For Enlil was the son of Anu and Antu the queen, the one of royal blood, descended from the pure line of kingship upon Nibiru. Enki, though the firstborn of Anu, was the son of a concubine, not of the royal wife, and thus his claim to the throne was set aside. Among the people, the matter was spoken of in hushed voices, for it was in this decree that the term blue blood first arose among men. Thus, though Enki had been the first to tread the lands of Eridu, though he had labored to bring forth the treasure of gold, the command of earth was given to another, and within Enki's heart a shadow of resentment grew, for he had toiled, yet the rule was taken from him, and his younger brother was made his lord. And great was the strife between the sons of Anu, for Enlil and Enki contended one with another over their duties and their rule upon the earth. Their voices rose before the mighty ones, and there was discord in the encampment, for the 2 brothers sought dominion, and their words were not in harmony. The Anunnaki, seeing the division between them, spake among themselves, saying, Who shall lead us? Who shall command the work of the gold? Let Anu himself come forth and make known his decree. And so word sent unto Nibiru, and the king Anu, hearing the cries of his sons, made ready his chariot and descended from the heavens unto the world of earth. And when Anu's ship arrived upon the land, great was the gathering, for the king himself had come to judge between his sons, and set forth the law of command. They led Anu unto Eridu, the first city where Enki made his dwelling, and there he was received with honor. But Anu sought to see the place of the golden treasure with his own eyes, and so was he taken upon a sky chamber, a vessel swift as the eagle in flight, and he was carried unto the Abzu, the land of gold. When Anu beheld the Abzu, he saw the mountains and the valleys, the rivers and the forests, and deep within the land he saw the veins of gold hidden beneath the earth. And he spake unto his sons and to the Anunnaki, saying, This is the place of salvation, the heart of the treasure that shall restore Nibiru, yet the labor shall be great, and the toil shall be heavy. They all saw that to draw forth the gold from beneath the ground would be a task of hardship, for the earth was firm, and the depths were vast. Anu decreed, saying, More shall be needed for this work, more tools of craft, more hands of labor, for this shall not be done by few, but by many. And so it was decided that more workers should be sent from Nibiru, and greater machines be fashioned, so that the gold be brought forth in abundance. And the lords and sages of the Anunnaki bowed before Anu, saying, Let it be so, O king, for the burden is great, but the reward shall be greater. And thus Anu prepared to make his decree, for the matter of rulership and command must be settled, and the way forward made clear for all upon the earth. The Anunnaki spake among themselves, saying, Who shall govern the Abzu and the gold therein? Who shall reign over the settlements? And who shall ascend to rule upon the throne of Nibiru? And so it was that Anu the king called forth his sons, Enlil and Enki, and before the gathered host they cast lots to settle the matter, that no hand might challenge the decree of fate. The lot of kingship fell upon Anu, and it was declared before all that he should return unto Nibiru, and remain its supreme ruler to govern the fate of their homeworld. Enlil, the younger, yet the true heir by blood, was chosen as lord of the command, and to him was given dominion over the Eden, the land of the righteous ones. And the Eden, which in the tongue of the Anunnaki was called Edin, meaning home of the righteous ones, was the land where the first settlements were raised, the place that in the days to come would be known as the Garden of Eden. And unto Enlil was given the task of establishing new dwellings for the Anunnaki, building great settlements across the land, and preparing ways for the vessels that would come and go from the heavens. And it was decreed that Enki, who was great in wisdom and craft, should oversee the mining of the gold and guide the labor of the mighty ones who toiled in the depths. And the Anunnaki murmured among themselves, for they foresaw that between the sons of Anu discord would rise, and their struggles would shape the fate of the world. The ways of the Anunnaki upon the earth were set in order, yet in the hearts of the mighty ones the seeds of strife were sown, and in the days to come great trials would arise from the division that had been cast. Enki's heart was heavy. He longed to remain in the Eden, the land where the righteous ones dwelled, for it was there that the great works of the Anunnaki had begun. Seeing the sorrow upon the face of Enki, Anu the king spoke words of honor, saying, Let Enki be known as Lord of the earth, for his hand was first to shape it for the Anunnaki. But lo, as these words were spoken, a voice rose among them, and it was the voice of Alalu, the former king, the first who had journeyed to the earth. And Alalu stood forth in the assembly, and cried aloud, saying, Is there no justice among the mighty ones? Have ye forgotten who it was that first beheld the earth? Who it was that first set foot upon this land? Was it not I who crossed the great expanse? Was it not I who braved the hammered bracelet and smote the stones before me? Was it not I who found the gold that now brings salvation to Nibiru? Now ye would give all dominion unto the sons of Anu and leave me with nothing. This is an abomination, and I will not stand silent. And the Anunnaki murmured among themselves, for the words of Alalu were true, and none could deny that he had been first among them to set foot upon the earth. Then Alalu raised his voice once more, saying, If not for me, our world would still suffer. If not for me, no gold would have been found. Shall I not be given mastery over the earth? Shall I not be honored for the salvation I have wrought? And the mighty ones turned their gaze unto Anu, for the matter was grave, and none dared speak further until the king himself made his judgment known. Anu beheld Alalu, the fallen king who once sat upon the throne of Nibiru, and he pondered in his heart how justice should be met. But the matter was not yet settled, and the seeds of discord grew among them, for where there were many lords there could be but one ruler. And it came to pass that when Alalu spoke his defiance before the gathered host, Anu, the king, was filled with great wrath, and his voice thundered as the storm, and he spake, saying, Enough of these words. Let it be settled not by tongue, but by strength, as is the custom of old. And the mighty ones beheld them, for in the days of Nibiru, when kings contended, it was by trial of combat that the victor was declared. Anu, the sovereign of Nibiru, and Alalu, the fallen one, stood face to face, stripping themselves of all garments, as was the way of the warriors of old. And they grasped one another, mighty in stature and strength, their bodies straining, each seeking to throw the other to the ground. The earth trembled beneath their struggle, and dust arose as the feet of the two mighty ones struck the ground with force. Back and forth they grappled, neither yielding to the other, for both were fierce and unrelenting. But Anu the king was mighty beyond measure, and with great force he seized Alalu and cast him down with power. And he lifted his voice before all, declaring, "By right of strength, and by the law of the ancients, I am the victor, I am the king of Nibiru." And the Anunnaki, seeing this, bowed before Anu, for by the trial of combat the decree was sealed, and Alalu's claim was shattered. Then Anu, the triumphant, withdrew his foot from Alalu, turning to the gathered host, declaring that Alalu was to be banished, never to return to the throne, nor to set foot upon Nibiru again. But lo, as Anu turned away, Alalu, humiliated and consumed with wrath, arose in his fury and struck with a treacherous hand. He fell upon Anu, and with his jaws of vengeance took hold of the king's manhood, and with a bite of rage and madness he severed it from him and swallowed it down. And a great cry arose among the Anunnaki, for never before had such an abomination been done among the mighty ones. Anu, the great king, fell back in agony, his cries filling the heavens, and his warriors rushed to him, seeking to lay hands upon Alalu for his monstrous deed. And the fate of Alalu was sealed in that moment, for he had defiled the sacred laws of kingship, and no place among the mighty ones would be left for him. And thus the trial of combat, which should have ended in honor, became a curse upon Alalu, and his name was spoken in shame among the hosts of the Anunnaki. Enlil, filled with fury, seized Alalu with a mighty grip, and he held him captive, while Alalu, in his madness, laughed and mocked the fallen king. Enki, seeing the suffering of his father, rushed forth and lifted Anu from the dust, carrying him unto his reed hut, so that he might apply the healing arts of old. With herbs of the land and waters of renewal, Enki sought to soothe the wounds of Anu, so that he might be restored from the treachery wrought upon him. But the anger of the Anunnaki burned hot, and the warriors of Nibiru gathered, lifting their voices in wrath, crying aloud, "Death unto Alalu! Let him pay for his wickedness! Let his life be taken for this grievous sin!" Yet Enki, wise in heart, raised his hand before them, saying, "Stay your judgment, for Alalu has sealed his own fate. The venom of his own deeds shall be his doom, and death shall come upon him in slow and unrelenting torment. For the flesh of Anu, which he has swallowed in his rage, shall be as a consuming fire within him, and his end shall be one of great suffering." And the mighty ones stood silent, for Enki's words bore wisdom, and they knew that Alalu's punishment was already upon him. Then Alalu, rising from the ground, cast his voice among them, crying out in defiance, saying, "Am I not Alalu, who once sat upon the throne of Nibiru? Was not Anu once my cupbearer, serving in my halls? By what right do ye cast me down, I who first saw the peril of our world? I who took it upon myself to journey across the great void and find the gold that saves thee all? Is it not through my courage that Nibiru still breathes? Shall my name be forgotten, and my deeds cast into the dust?" And he lamented, saying, And see how my own son-in-law Enki is cast away from Eridu, from the home he built, into the depths of the Abzu. Is there no honor among the mighty ones? But though Alalu's words were spoken, none would rise to his defense, for the law of kingship had been sealed, and his crime had left him unredeemed. And thus Alalu, once a king, once a seeker of salvation, stood as a wretched figure before the Anunnaki, knowing that his days were numbered and his fate was no longer in his own hands. And it came to pass that Alalu, the fallen one, was carried unto the desolate world, the red land called Lahmu, to live out his final days in exile. Anzu, a mighty one of great loyalty, stepped forth and spake unto Anu, saying, Let me not forsake him in his last days. Though he has fallen, he was once a king, and none should perish alone. And Anu, hearing his words, granted his request, saying, Remain with him, and when his breath is no more, bury him as befits his former station, that his name may not be lost unto the dust. So Alalu was taken to Lahmu, and with him went Anzu, who would stand as his guardian and companion upon the strange world. Lahmu was a land of mystery, with great mountains and valleys deep, with waters flowing and an air that could be drawn into the lungs. And to Alalu was given a sky chamber, that he might traverse the lands of his exile, moving upon the winds like the eagles of the heavens. And there, upon the barren world, Alalu dwelled, his days spent wandering the desolate realm, awaiting the fate that he had brought upon himself. But before Anu departed, he called unto Anzu and spake a word of promise, saying, If the days of Alalu pass, and you yet live, let it be known that your loyalty shall be rewarded. For when next a vessel from the heavens comes unto Lahmu, it shall descend to the surface, and if you yet stand among the living, I shall proclaim you master of Lahmu. And more than this, in the days to come, let Lahmu be not only a place of exile, but a station for our mission, a way for the gold of earth to reach our home with greater ease. And to you, Anzu, shall this task be given, to establish the way station upon Lahmu, and to command it as its ruler. And Anzu bowed before Anu, saying, May it be so, O king. I shall keep my watch upon Lahmu, whether in life or in death, until the heavens decree my fate. And so the great chariot of Anu departed, ascending from Lahmu's red dust into the heavens, returning unto Eridu, and from there unto Nibiru. And upon Lahmu, Alalu and Anzu remained, one in exile, the other in duty, as the fate of worlds continued to unfold.
End of Episode 3, Episode 4 coming soon.